Toyota.
Yeah, that's right. It's a Wednesday here on GMFB. Jamie, Isaac, Brandon, and Mike G over on the East Coast. Welcome in, everybody. A lot of topics to get to, but Brandon Cooks, day 2 here on Good Morning Football. You know, these current players, they come through the broadcast boot camp here in this building, and all the networks come in and check on them, the current players, with hopes that they understand better what a life in media and being on camera looks like. How do you feel after one day doing Good Morning Football?
I feel great. I mean, I'm over here led by 2 of the greats. So at the end of the day, you know, I'm feeling good. You know, you're throwing the lobs. Yesterday, you did throw me in the fire a little bit, but it's all right. You got to be on your toes. You know, the boards and everything. You know, I thought I was going to be sitting the whole show, but at the end of the day, it's you know, it's all right because I can handle it.
Well, you're going to learn a fast lesson here on GMFB. If you disclose any personal information about things that you like in your life, we turn it into a game the next day. It's called the 24-hour rule. Your Instagram handle is The Archer, and we will be playing an archery game today. Mike Garofalo is going to host it. Until then, we have to talk about the NFC South because there's a new Falcons quarterback in town, and his name is Tua Tagovailoa. The second lefty quarterback in Atlanta met with the media yesterday, and he said his relationship with fellow signal caller Michael Penix Jr., who is currently recovering from a torn ACL injury that he suffered back in November. This is what they talked about at the media session. The team has not yet announced a starter for the upcoming season, but Tua says competition is always a part of the game.
I would say you don't choose a team based off of whether I'm going to be starting or not. I think you look at the entirety of the group, right? As I was looking at the other teams, you know, I knew I had to compete regardless of what that was going to look like. Coming here, you know, I kind of know Mike a little bit based off of his relationship with my little brother as they were coming out for the draft. But last year wasn't the best year for me. And, you know, I'm looking for a fresh start, but fresh start in the sense of being able to compete, being able to go back out there and playing football, good football. And I think the best football is still ahead of me.
Michael Penix Jr. having bounced around in college, and of course we know what his college career looked like to his younger brother, Tawalia, so they're the same age, but now Tua and Michael Penix Jr. are on the same team in Atlanta. Tua says his best football is ahead of him. Isaac, you hear that. We know what is behind him already, so what do you make of that statement?
Yeah, well, first off, I think it's wild when you say, like, Penix bounced around in college. That's just such a crazy thing. The transfer portal, all that, it's a whole other segment that we could have. But I'm excited for Tua. Here's the thing. We love Tua. Tua is one of the most charismatic guys. Like, when you see him on TV, he's smiling. You can feel the energy. But the Tua that we saw last year and the playful Tua and the Tua that got blown out by the Steelers and was laughing, you just saw the clip, that's the Tua that I think kind of changed people's minds a little bit, right? It left a sour taste in people's mouths. I mean, look, Tua is super well compensated for what he does. He was year 6. He's a team leader. I think the whole organization needed more from him, and for that, I'm like, man, do we need to question who Tua is in these situations? He's going to the Falcons, and he's potentially going to be a backup. He's going to be competing for a spot. Is Tua, could he operate in a backup scenario with the Falcons, a team that just drafted Penix in the first round, and they probably want to develop him and turn him into a potential starter? I don't know if he can be a backup, so that's a question mark in my mind. And the other thing is the Stefanski of it all, because Stefanski has been in very complicated quarterback rooms. And so I'm like, is that a Stefanski thing? Was that an Andrew Berry thing with the Browns? Like, what type of energy is being brought to the quarterback room with the Falcons? That's a question mark for me. But what I will say conclusively, this video we just saw of Tua was really refreshing. I mean, you watch it and you're like, okay, let's get back to the old Tua. Like, I want to see the old Tua. I want to see the charismatic Tua who's making plays and making an impact on the field. But I think right now there's this fine line when I think about him where it's like, is the charisma and playfulness not serious? And again, we saw it last year, or is that going to be him being a great leader? I think the best football could be ahead of him, but I think there's so many question marks I just don't know yet.
Yeah, I agree with you. At the end of the day, I think his football that's ahead of him, it's his last shot, right? And so, and that, you know, that's the way I take it. So the best has to come out. The competition, like we talked about, you know, that should bring the best out of you. You see those clips, he's laughing around. Clearly, you know, he was not in it anymore with Miami Dolphins, right? And so, like he talked about in that clip, there's a fresh start. So let it go, right? Let it go, Frozen. We all got kids here. Let it go. And then you got the 2-time Coach of the Year in Stefanski. So we all know he can develop quarterbacks. So what is that room going to look like? I think Tua ends up winning that starting job because, Penix is obviously still recovering. And so Tua got a fresh set of weapons. Got a guy in the backfield that he can not only hand the ball off to, but he can throw it to as well. So there's some complementary pieces around him. But let's lock in, let the plan go, and let's go out there and win some games. You're in a division where it's wide open in the NFC South. It's yours for the taking. You're no longer going against Buffalo and Pats week in and week out or whatever the case may be. You're going against the Saints, Carolina, and Tampa Bay. So it's yours to win. Go out there, take it, and let's lock in.
See that number on the bottom there, 1 year, $1.3 million contract. And you might be saying, that's it? That's all Tua Tagovailoa is making? Now, if you're just helicoptering in here, let's explain what's going on.
Please.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are picking up the brunt of what they owe Tua Tagovailoa this upcoming season here at $50+ million. And I know folks say, what a terrible contract, right? How could you possibly get yourself in a situation where you owe them that much money and you're basically paying them all that money to go away? Well, that deal was signed in 2024 in the summer, and it came after the 2023 season. You remember who led the NFL in passing in 2023?
Tua.
I'll give you a hint. It's Tua Tagovailoa who led the NFL in passing. He was dealing that year. And Mike McDaniel's offense, watch him playing on the field and talking off the field, so that'd be great. But that was some really good football back in 2020. It's so easy to be. He's injury prone, and he was laughing at the end of the game and all the mistakes. And Tua played some really good football and put himself in a position for that contract, which allowed the Falcons to get him at such a bargain rate deal.
Mike, can we continue to clarify the contract situation, though? Because if you're saying that at 1 year, $1.3 million, does that he didn't have 1 year left on the deal? So if next year, let's say he signs a 1 year deal with somebody else, that team then only has to sign him to what feels like a bare minimum. And how long are the Dolphins on the hook?
No, this is the last year of the guaranteed money for the Dolphins.
Of the guaranteed money.
This is the point. Yeah, right. The same thing with Kyler Murray. Now, in Kyler's case, and I don't think this was the case with Tua's contract, if I'm recalling correctly, but Kyler had guarantees in 2027 that would have triggered if he was on the roster here in 2026. So the Cardinals, much like the Broncos a couple of years ago with Russell Wilson, said, this is going to suck. We're going to take this on the chin for a year. But this avoids it sucking even more the following year. In Tua's case, it was just there was a big number this year, a new regime coming in. Yes, it's going to suck for them as well, but it's time to move on.
Yeah, this is interesting, though, Mike G. Real quick, what was the number that the Dolphins are left to pay?
Oh, you got me going through my stuff. I should.
Well, you can come back with it, but the point
it was 50. Go ahead.
50 something.
Let's call it 50 mil. The thing that's interesting to me is, again, we saw these clips of Tua laughing after the game when they got blown out. The Dolphins were so adamant about getting rid of him that they're willing to take a $50 million hit to the chin. It's really interesting to me. And Brandon, I want to ask you, when you're in a locker room, you got a guy like that who's getting paid that much. He's a huge team leader. And then you see those types of things after the game. How does that affect you as his teammate? And then even the Falcons, as they see him coming in, how do you think they're viewing him?
Well, that's huge. You see something like that, especially from your leader. You're like, do you even care anymore? We're out here fighting our tails off. We know you got $50 million coming in, or whatever the case may be. So we know you're taken care of. But do you care about us? And that goes back to my point of, Mike, the stats were great, but best football ahead of you is also talking about, can I lead a team? Can I get the band to follow me? And I'm interested to see in Atlanta, can that happen? To answer your question, I think he's able to, because he looks back at those moments like, man, that's not who I am, and that's why I go back to let's lock in.
Brandon, it's always a fun reminder, too, catching a ball from left-handed quarterbacks. Yes. Is it very different? You don't like it?
Very different.
Okay.
Very different. If I have a right-handed quarterback that I know I'm playing with during the season, and there's a left-handed quarterback, I will not catch a ball. And I don't know what it is, but I only want that spin to come out from a right-handed quarterback.
All right, so Penix Jr. again and Tua both lefties, so maybe Stefanski is just kind of like, well, I'll just have my receivers be nice and comfortable so then I don't have to choose, and then they're not put into precarious situations. A couple things that you guys touched on I want to make sure we remember correctly as well, which is, to your point about leading a team, Brandon, Tua hit some speed bumps last year with that, even when he was calling out his teammates about whether it was very clandestine, but he essentially was implying that guys weren't showing up to meetings on time and that we got to step up. I covered them in the Madrid game against the Commanders, and there was still clarification of what Tua really meant. And anytime you're put into that scenario as a team leader in the locker room, you're still clarifying something you said a couple weeks back. That's a hard position to be in. Secondly, we've mentioned his name once before, but this topic is reminding me of what we thought we could have had with Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa, and the fact that that offense was a Ferrari with Tyreek Hill, with some of the running backs, and they would always peter out. They would run out of gas on the side of the road when they would hit the Bills' schedule in December. Now you're seeing Mike McDaniel pair up with a Harbaugh and a Herbert in Los Angeles. Yep. And when I say those names to you, Brandon Cooks, why are you chuckling? It's going to be really fun to watch this unfold because let's remind ourselves the Ferrari has parked now in Los Angeles.
Yeah, two different personalities as well. You got a Ferrari and you got a Tonka truck in Harbaugh. So, I look forward to it because Justin Herbert can make any throw on the field. And that Mike McDaniel offense, as we all know, my favorite tree is that Shanahan offense, right? Shanahan, McVay, O'Connell. I think that's the best tree in football when it comes to offensive play calling. So I look forward to Mike going out to the Chargers and making some of those calls.
Yeah, and I also think, like, a guy like Mike McDaniel, I think about Daboll, these head coaches that have a great history working with quarterbacks and creating these Ferrari offenses. What does it look like when they don't have to actually run a football team?
Yeah.
Like when he can just be the cool offensive coordinator that people are like, man, he's quirky, he's whatever, but I love him and I love his offense. Him with Herbert, this could be a dangerous combo, and I also think Herbert's at the point in his career where he needs this. Like, this is really important for him. Herbert's by no means in a make-or-break situation. We know who he is. He's a beast. But this could be really like the thing that puts him to that next level. We saw it happen last year with a number of different quarterbacks, so I think it'll be great. Mike G, what do you got on this?
On that, I've got excitement to see what Mike McDaniel can do, with Justin Herbert and that offense out there, bringing in some pieces, including the fullback, Alec Ingold, who was with Mike McDaniel in Miami, bringing him in to be a part of it. I just want to put a bow on it. For Tua Tagovailoa, it's $54 million, fully guaranteed this upcoming season, minus the 1.3 that the Falcons are paying. So for Stephen Ross and company down there in Miami, it's $52.7 million payable to USO LLC. Shout out Manti Te'o, who's not here today.
Big Goose. That's true. We got through an entire Tua conversation because it's true. When I covered him in Alabama, I knew him as a college kid, but then he comes into the NFL, and now Manti sits next to me every day. I'm like, let me just understand this correctly, just from like a kid who grew up in Hawaii, from a Polynesian culture like situation, just trying to understand Tua better. And if nothing else, that quarterback's going to be ready to compete wherever it is, Miami or Atlanta. Moving on. NFL draft season is here, and NFL Network is your destination for all the buzz surrounding your favorite team. Path to the Draft is starting Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. From expert analysis to exclusive interviews, from mock drafts to team needs, we've got you covered. Path to the Draft, weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on NFL Network. Still to come on our show, what is the greatest Hail Mary of all time? Is it Jaden Daniels against the Bears? Is it someone jawing at the fans because they weren't paying attention in the back a little